Hey peeps, DJMK here, and welcome to another episode of Real Talk. So it looks like these vlogs are going to be a thing. And before you freak out and think I switched the location, nope, it's the exact same one. Just different end of my room. But anyway, well, this is video number 55, and I kind of got curious about who's been following me on my social media. So I decided to look through, look through some of my old tweets, see which ones gravitated people the most. And then it just took me to this analytics page on the sites that I use very frequently. And then it got me curious. Who's been following me online? And what do they seem to get out of my sites? So I checked out the analytics pages, and it told me something very, very, very interesting. So right now I'm taking a couple of statistics of that. Gosh, my mouth has really not been functioning the last couple days too well. I apologize. I hope by today, fingers crossed, that this mess is sorted out. But anyway, I've recently been taking stat classes in my university, so it's been kind of making me force my attention a bit more on graphs and the demographics that go to my channel every single week. So I've been very curious as to who's been following me on each of my mediums. So I decided to take a look at the analytics for the 3 social media that I tend to follow the most, which is my Twitter, my YouTube, and my Twitch. And I will say that the results have been very, very interesting. Let's take a look, shall we? So here is my my Twitter page. Up top is a picture of my beautiful radio show self. So I've had my Twitter for about, at this point, 3 years now, and I decided to check out what demographics I have. So I'm comparing it with my organic audience compared to the people that actually follow me. So on my left, for this tab, for the overview of top interests, the pink stands for the people who actually follow me, and the red stands for the people that make first impressions on my page, an organic audience. In other words, people that have come across my page for the very, very, very first time, and basically like clicked on my tweet, enjoyed it, and moved on to something else. And one of my tweets that I'd done recently was the Black Panther, was about Black Panther, especially about the recommendations I had with Nation Under Our Feet by Ta-Nehisi Coates and World of Wakanda by Roxane Gay, for those who were interested in furthering their Black Panther knowledge, which I still recommend, by the way. But yeah, that one got like 54,000 organic impressions, and I only posted that a week ago, which is really impressive. So it got me curious about what the rest of the statistics said, and this is what they said. So apparently the biggest interest that my followers tend to have is comedy, which is really interesting. In terms of organic audience, it's 76%, but then in terms of my followers, it's 58%, which, looking back, it kind of makes sense because I do watch BoJack Horseman and Blackish and many other comedic shows whenever I have way too much steam. And the GIFs I tend to use on my tweets tend to be of the more comedic nature, since sometimes I can't really come up with the words to make it funny, so I use the visuals to make it funny instead. So that kind of makes sense. The next one that pops up is music, which again makes sense. I recently tweeted one track from the Black Panther soundtrack, which was the track Wakanda, and goodness, that song still gives me goosebumps even after it's done. But getting back to it, 70% were organic audiences, and 53% were my followers, which I think also is the fact that I used to be a DJ on a radio station, and now I do it online. So that's not surprising that seems to be popping up. But this third one was really surprising. Politics and current events. Now, current events I understand because I use Twitter a lot to keep on top of things. But politics I would say maybe it tends to hit pretty high around the beginning of the year and around election season. So it's kind of interesting that it's way up there. And then fourth one is movie news and general info, which is where my followers tend to dominate, about 57% versus 54 for organic audience, which that totally makes sense. And then other ones are comedy, business and news, music festivals and concerts, action adventure, pop, sci-fi, and fantasy. And then the highest wireless carrier is AT&T, followed by Verizon, T-Mobile, and Sprint. I use Sprint personally, so. And then Vodafone tends to be a thing that pops up here, which is a UK service. So with O2 and the UK version of T-Mobile, which is very fascinating. So I have a lot of UK followers. So hello, family from across the pond. But then this is the other part that actually makes it even more interesting. So in terms of organic audience, I hit more females than males, 51 to 39%. But then in terms of followers, it's almost a 50-50 split, 49% to 51%. 49% female to 51% male, which is really, really interesting. So, but then again, it kind of makes sense considering who's been following me lately. It's been a lot of male influencers that have been following me. And, I mean, the biggest one I can really think of is the YouTuber Tay Zonde. He followed me back in January. So that was a really surprising thing, but that was really cool. And that was way back when I only had maybe like 300 subscribers on my Twitter. So, and now I have like 510. So I went up like 30 subscribers in the past few weeks. So that's been pretty fascinating. So demographics, my top language is English. Both in organic and my followers, it's 99%. Though for organic followers, I also tend to get Spanish, Japanese, Portuguese, and Korean speakers. The Spanish and Japanese I can totally get because I've done a few tweets in Spanish and I've done a few tweets in Japanese. So that makes sense. And one of my followers is Japanese as well. So that's pretty cool. But then the age category, this is where it gets really, really cool. So I have 5% of an organic impression for the organic audience from the 13 to 17 range. But here's the really more interesting part, is it's the 18 to 34 demographic. But then again, this is where, in real life, this is where we get the most variation. This is how most companies make their corporate decisions when it comes to getting out their movies, and the easiest demographic to appeal to when it comes to a lot of content. But they are very different age ranges. 18 to 24, it's like senior high school and college years. And 25 to 34 is just getting out of college, or you're on the final year of college, just getting out of college, and about to make big decisions like marriage, grad school, and possibly kids. And this is where it gets really impressive. So I started like I mentioned earlier, I started this back in 2014, and that's when I was still in university. And then, this is 2018, I just got out of university, but I'm still taking classes and I'm still connected to the university community. So my impression is very high in the university category, 47%. But then, in terms of subscribers, my subscribers are more towards my grad school equivalents, 35% in the ages 25 to 34 mark. That's 10% more. That's 10% more than my college than the 18 to 24 demographic. And I think the 18 to 24 demographic is where I'm connecting with the most. And yet, here's to say otherwise, I'm connecting exactly with my current age group, which is really interesting. Then I get the 35 to 44, that's pretty high up there as well in terms of followers, 16%. And then I've got some 45 to 54 followers, 55 to 64, and over 65. So, y'all people who are 35 plus, I like you already. But in total, that's about 40% of my audience. So, thank you. Thank you. You never underestimate your elders. So organic impression, this one's not surprising. I have attention in the US, 77% organically and 75% from my followers. But then UK, I didn't think I was that high there. 10% subscribe to me from the UK, 7% just organically. Canada's third, And then Australia. That's surprising. Australia, but then again, I follow Jazza both on YouTube and Twitter, so it makes sense. Then South Africa, Philippines, Japan, Brazil, France, and Singapore. And then, if you want to get more specific when it comes to my own region, I appeal most to Californians, which is interesting because I am as East Coast as sin, which is really interesting. 11% organically, 10% 10% following, and then Texas, another surprise, 6% organic, 5% following. England, 6%. 6% organic, 9% following, which is really fascinating. Then Georgia, New York, Florida, which makes sense. North Carolina, which is surprising. Maryland, which makes sense. Illinois, which somewhat makes sense. And Greater London, which makes sense. And then lifestyle. Here's another fun one. I think I already mentioned these, actually. Yeah, I already mentioned this. Never mind. But yeah, so this is even cool. It even covers like how many devices they have. Most of my followers come to me on their laptops, which makes sense because I do a lot of my but then they also come from iOS devices, which makes sense as well because most of my tweets that I do it on my phone. And then Android, who uses BlackBerry still? I'm interested. That's interesting. And mobile web and other devices, which is like iPads and stuff. I think well, that would technically fall under iOS versus Android, wouldn't it? But yeah, most of my followers use their computers or on iOS devices. But then most of the people who make organic impressions of me are on their computers and iOS devices as well. I don't know what's telling me new. But anyway, that is my Twitter following. So that's pretty cool, actually. It's really fascinating. So then I decided to take it one step further and explore what my YouTube following is. Like, what is that going to be? So let's switch tabs over here for a sec. Come on, baby, load. So, yeah, as you can see, quite a bit of activity has happened since my last forays online, which is pretty cool. I think it's because I've been uploading almost every single day, and also doing live streams every single day, that it's helping everything go up. So, persistence is key here, folks. So, my average watch time has gone up to 206 minutes, which is over almost 550% more than the previous period that I had, which was December 23rd to 2017 to January 19th this year, which my highest spike happened around this period, which was an hour and 38 minutes. Which I did not expect at all. And then my views have gone up to 55. And my average view duration, which means the people who actually stay on and watch my entirety of my videos, it's 3 minutes and 44 seconds. Which I think the most I've gotten on was about a minute. So that's pretty good increase. Which is 40% compared to previous period. And I even have videos in playlists, in 6 playlists, and I've gotten comments, which is really fascinating. But then, here's the really interesting part. So the highest reaction that I've gotten was from my Grim Fandango video and my Mastering a New Arena series, for my Heroes of the Storm video. And even most of my traffic's coming from notifications, followed by browsing, and then other features. 100% happening on the watch page, and majority of my viewers coming from the US, Australia, Japan, Germany, and then Canada. But then again, keep in mind, this is a 28-day period. If you put it with the lifetime of the channel, this tells a very different story. So I've had my YouTube, at least this section of my YouTube, about as long as my Twitter account. I mainly started this channel because I wanted to promote the stuff that I did in my radio show. But obviously, as you can see from the things that I've done lately, that turned out quite a bit differently. And look at this. So my watch time has spiked up significantly to 1,449 minutes. That's basically, if somebody did this, that's watching pretty much a day's worth of content. Yeah, that's basically a day's worth of content. My average view duration is still 3 minutes, but hey, that's still something. I've had 421 views. The spike seems to be happening around January and this month. I've had 30 videos in playlists. I have 9 subscribers currently, 84 comments made, 29 of which were made on my SC2VN video. So actually, the more popular video that I have is going on an adventure, the part 2 of my my StarCraft visual novel video. And then the Save Meche video, the part 2, is about 3rd place if we're doing overall watch time. But then in terms of views, it's my really old vlog when I was trying to connect when I was really trying to connect it to my blog in the past with my really poorly done exercise videos. That was from another time. I might come back to those again, but those two videos are just for class. Honestly, I wish I could just hide those away. Well, technically I can, but anyway. So, in terms of demographics, again, women are the highest one that I have. And then watch sources, again, most of it is from my channel page. The rest is from browse features, suggested videos. I didn't think it was that high in suggested videos, 18%, and 32% other. So that's like recommendations, link copying, etc. Or even the restream links. And then playback locations, most of it's on the YouTube watch page, but then 0.4% is from external websites and apps, which I do very, very rarely. But yeah, I mean, looking at these things, it's very important because you find out what's working and then you take advantage of it. So statistics are very, very helpful. But that doesn't mean you have to limit your content to just the places where you're getting the most hits. No, no, no. You can use this information also to see how you can make your exposure more balanced. So let's say right here, for example, you see that your channel page seems to be the dominating thing that gets people's attention. Do you want to keep up with your channel page being the main thing of how you get exposed? Or if maybe trying to push more of your suggestions or making more browsing accessible, making more SEO emphasis more on SEO, search engine optimization, to make it easier to access. Likewise, with audience insights, most people seem to come to you for comedy or music. Would it hurt to bring back up some more music content? Or maybe just not be so tight on yourself and just let yourself loose because you may be funnier than you think you are. Which I don't think I am, but I try. But it also says current events and movies are things, so maybe talking about recommendations or movies you've recently seen seem to help you get your base, because it shows that you actually care about what in the world is going on, and also you're curious about what people like. So there's that. There's little things there's so much you can glean from, but also you can find out what the first impressions you give based on the statistics you deliver. So I know I need to get to my Twitch percentage, which is last but certainly not least, and it is hands down the youngest one of my roster. So I'm going to jump under my stats really quick. my laptop is running really hot right now. And there's even clip data, which is really interesting. So, Twitch, it's a little different. So, for Twitch, it shows the average number of viewers you get, number of new followers, chatters, which I believe is like people that go on your chat and talk about it, your peak time, clips, like whether people make clips out of you, and like how long people have watched. So obviously right now, because it's I'm currently on a stream, it's not going to show anything because nobody's on right now, and I'm not expecting anybody to be on right now. And you can focus on like more recent streams. So let's do let's say the last week. I've done 15 hours streamed. And average viewers, I've gotten one. That was my buddy Krim Toadstool from a Black Panther live stream that I had. And the most viewers I had on Twitch were from the US, obviously, 10 views. But then I also had viewers from Saudi Arabia, Germany, and Russia, which is interesting. And viewers from Twitch, 2 of them were from hosts. I have a couple of people who host my channel on Twitch. One of them's from the browse page, which was basically the section where the very first impressions you get, and the rest is from email notifications. And then the platform, iOS, desktop, and other, which honestly I think unfortunately most of it's from me because I use Twitch to message people or look at chat. So a good number of them might be from me. And then viewers from outside Twitch it's direct referral, which I think is my Twitter link. And then of course you could check out other things like clip views, average viewers, max viewers, new followers, average chats, average chat messages, clips created, average stream length, longest stream, minutes watched, and time streamed. So I don't do clips. I don't seem to have enough of those anyway. So we could probably let's find out minutes watched. 260, which is about as long as what I do on YouTube currently. But that's just in a week. Let's do last 30 days. So, average viewers, around January 25th, I had about 2. And then, ever since, it's pretty much been about 1. And then, in terms of location, in the last month, there's way more people. United States is number 1, obviously, with 20 views, followed by Italy, Norway, Saudi Arabia, Sweden, Germany, Denmark, the UK, Indonesia, and Malaysia. I did not think I had much attention in Malaysia. But then again, I'm a Malaysian YouTuber, Gamer Zach, which, by the way, highly recommend his stuff. He is awesome, nostalgic content. So, anyway, again, most of the viewers tend to come to me either by iOS or desktop, which makes sense because that's my main devices, so that makes sense. Then, most people who view from Twitch find out through my browse page, my hosting, notifications, followers, searches, and one person goes through my YouTube page, my Twitch page. And then most of it is pretty much direct. So, and I'm able to see it through a table as well. You can see the duration of each of the videos that I've done. Friday obviously was the highest one. Actually, this one in particular because it was a vlog, which is really interesting. It seems like most of my views I'm getting are from my vlogs. This is the other part that's really interesting. So, and then minutes watched was 705. My average stream length was an hour 23 minutes, and then my longest stream was 3 hours and 14 minutes. Oh my goodness! I think it was that was the Jotun Valhalla edition stream that I did. I was such a mess. New followers though. I haven't gotten any. Then again, my Twitch is super duper young, so I'm not surprised I haven't gotten anybody. Um, but I think I actually have a couple of followers in my history actually. And I don't know why it's showing Heroes of the Storm when I'm not streaming any games right now. There's also a way you can see classic stats as well. I feel like the classic stats a bit stronger because it shows like a line chart over time versus this thing where they make it super refined. So let's try time watched. And yeah, so look at that. So this part over here, which is about 10 a.m. my time watched was one. I can't tell what this axis is. Twitch, you got to make that clear. What is the y-axis? You can't. Left hand statistics. What is the y-axis here? This is not telling me anything. This is pretty much useless to me right now. I can't tell what this y-axis is. Does this point? What does one mean? Does this mean 1 hour? Does this mean 1 day? Does this mean 1 minute? What does it mean? But I'm guessing, considering that most of my streams tend to be about an hour long, I'm guessing it's about an hour, which is impressive. You all have pretty good attention spans here on Twitch. Then again, it's gaming videos. I could watch this stuff for hours. Oh yeah, it says hours watched. You still got, even with that, you still gotta, make it clear on your graph on the y-axis, because sometimes you got the heading, but then you easily forget. That's how into statistics I am, folks. Even though I'm an English major. But yeah, I majored in English. So yeah, like stats, believe it or not, even though it can be very confusing when you learn in school, when you see the practicality in it, it makes so much more sense. Which is proof as to why people say you learn way more outside the classroom than in it. So I encourage you, even if you're not a popular YouTuber or you're not a small YouTuber like myself, or you're just a casual internet user, do not hesitate to go and look back on some of the things that you excuse me. Don't hesitate to look back and look at some of the things that you may follow or you may have the most attention to, because sometimes the reason why you have a certain attention is because of the impression that you give based on statistics, or even just overall what interests you decide to display. And that can not only be like an impetus to show where you can bring attention to yourself, but also if you want to change yourself, you know what areas to hit instead. So, yeah, statistics is cool, yo. And that's why it's out of all the math subjects, that's my favorite one, yo. Even though, probably some statisticians are probably going to hate me right now because I called statistics math, and some statistics people don't even consider it math, but even though it's under a math curriculum. But I'm calling it that anyway. Sorry. Because it's got numbers, you have to calculate stuff anyway, and you use Excel. But anyway, before I anger any other subjects off, thank you so much for watching this. A new episode of The Latest Choice, as well as my video of Vainglory's 5v5 edition, will be coming up soon. I finally played it for the first time last night. I'm hooked. So for those who dropped Vainglory during the 3v3 phase, try out 5v5 before you drop the towel, because it may reinvest your interest in the game. It's pretty good. So again, thank you so much for watching this interesting vlog. I know a little outside of my topic zone, a little bit outside my comfort zone too, but and even my expertise. But it's been pretty fun to look at. I mean, come on, graphs look cool, don't they? Especially if they're really well done. So yeah, here's all my social media. Um, my Twitter, sorry, my Twitch name also applies to my Battle.net ID. So if anybody wants to be friends with me on Heroes of the Storm, feel free to go ahead and do so. I also have YouTube, DJ MK Off the Air. Might put it under a name change because honestly, it's not being as recognized heavily as my Twitch. My Twitter is also DJ MK for life, and I have Mixler audio streams. If you're curious about those, press that link in the description of my YouTube, and it will take you to my show reel, which will basically, it will basically tell you, it will basically show you like my various reels, from past reviews. My Black Panther review will be coming up pretty soon, and I really want to do like the really full-fledged broadcasts that I used to do, and I need about $20 to do it, and that's why I created a coffee page, because I'm not really big enough for Patreon, and also, unlike Patreon, it's not a huge commitment. All you need to do is just donate one time or as many times as you want, or whatever amount you want, and it's one and done. So, and it accepts pretty much all payment methods. So that's why I picked coffee, because it's just, I'm way too small for Patreon, and I kind of have a harder time promoting Patreon. In some ways compared to coffee, where it's just, if you want to, you want to, thank you very much for the generosity. If you can't or you don't want to, thanks for just watching this channel anyway, kind of thing. So it's very easy for me to do that. In terms of other mediums, I also have a blog. Oh yes, mahokunoichi.blogspot.com. Which, speaking of which, I need to copy and paste the vlog that I did on Friday, because that seems to be the one that I'm getting the most traffic on. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So stay tuned, because I'm going to do the Lady's Choice in a little bit. Because, hey, we got to find out how my Regency self is going to deal with the, with that society criminal. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Bye, everybody.